Hi, hello! Well, I'm on the floor, though that's not what this video is about. No, this came up off of some of the comments and world building wise. I haven't gotten many videos out on that. There's a few with rough notes and props in the works, but I'm already behind on a few other projects, so... But this should be quick enough. So, now to the actual title. World building. Probable versus possible. In short, here we go when it comes to certain systems and world building around those. Because if you're world building on your own or making your own setting, no rules, no system, nothing applied to it, then you're fine. Well, I mean, this can still apply, but you don't run into these issues that I'm mainly going to be bringing up. When you're world building and setting up a game and system around an already pre-existing system of rules, either from a setting that's already existed or a literal set of rules like in a game system. Now, there's flexibility in interpretation, but I'm also going to be saying there's more to it. So we have the benefit of it being a game to us. We're currently standing up on a table or behind a computer, we're playing it, we're as a main character, we're looking through all our stats and systems, all of it broken down into numbers, and all of it broken down right before us, and we can read through every book, we can have the knowledge on the background of monsters, enemies, resources, what it takes to get all of these things and more as a DM and a player. And so we optimize. That's what plenty of players optimize. It's power gaming. Not to say there's anything bad with that. People play their games differently. And as long as it's good with your table, it's all right. And that rule also goes with some of these spells. Okay. So yeah, this came up from comments on a lot of the spell a day. And also the comments in the polls going through most potential for evil spells or schools of magic and most potential for good schools of magic. So when it came to the comments there and the explanations, there's been a few people who have been regularly commenting or a few others popping in. It goes back and forth. Most of the time, and I even give into this on some occasion, and I've noted that some spells are just fantastic, or they're broken, or busted, or it breaks settings. Or that high magic doesn't work, or this is why you should stick to low magic, or this is why I block spellcasters of this kind. Humans are not optimal. An individual person is not optimal, let alone an entire society or culture. Religion, history, oh god, anything staring back however long through recorded human history. People are not optimal, or efficient, or have the benefit of it being a game and being able to look outside of it and see all these things broken down into stats. Because that's one thing to take into account is for the NPC side of things, it might not be broken down to the stats. It might not be the same systems the players have to deal with, because the players are playing a game, so all the systems are set up to allow them to interact with the world. There's a reason monster stat blocks in the first place don't really follow any base classes. Not to say you can't mold those classes in, but I'm also trying to get the point across that the mechanics the players interact with do not have to be what the NPCs interact with as well. In fact, I highly suggest they're different. At least that's how I run it. Like, while it's not the best example, the one that comes to mind at the moment is, don't invade Russia in the winter. Now, yeah, we have the benefit of hindsight on that, but that's been done before, and that's backfired. But because we know that, and yes, that's hindsight, but hindsight technically it's a similar situation applying to when you have the outside perspective of this game and stats, and you are in the perspective of a player or a DM. The only way you interact with this world is through those numbers. The NPCs don't interact with it that way. Yes, mechanically, when you're rolling dice whenever they're involved in the story, but that's kind of it. When it comes to the actual world building or the reasons for things being certain ways, go buck wild. This isn't to say that, like, don't touch any of the mechanics at all. You're welcome to adjust them, homebrew, house rule, change things, do different systems, or hack certain things with different settings. Go crazy with it. I'm a huge proponent of homebrew and house rules. But I'm also just trying to get across the point that, when it comes to things like, oh, plane shift breaks a setting, or certain high-level things break a setting, people in the comments have also brought up of their allocation of spellcasters within a region, or no, you can't have this many wizards. Add different flaws to your wizards. Have it that only certain people, yes, similar to Sorcerer, that it's only certain people born can then train and study to do that, or it takes years and years, or there's a physical danger to it. And do the players interact with it? Maybe not. Maybe story-wise, but as mechanic-wise, you don't have to put anything in. They're the players, they're the main characters of this campaign. That's their plot armor, is how they interact with the setting. Not everyone had to have made a magic school, nor even if they did, it doesn't have to be an efficient one. Not in the sense that, oh, you can pull yourself back, but I'm kind of saying that settings on their own won't go for the optimal route. There's plenty of petty grievances, the fact that not everything's a hive mind. There might be other restrictions to both how magic works for the NPCs versus the players, because when you're a player, prepping spells is quite lenient, and learning spells as well. It might not be the same for the NPCs. There's also just the, yeah, that's just how the world is explanation. Well, that might not seem that nice or that satisfactory. It's the fact that the choices the characters make, or the ancient characters in your setting, or the way the world got to the way it is, doesn't have to be the best decisions. I mean, look at the best tragedies. Those are not good decisions. And look at history. It's full of bad decisions. And good ones as well. But they're also not all binary. It's all based off the environment they were in, the situation they had set up, the resources available to them, which were different for everyone and everything. Again, not a hive mind, nor one with the benefit of knowing everything. Like, it's a whole thing of wizards having to study and arcane lore being difficult to master. Same thing with the sorcerer struggling to master their, like, inner power. They likely don't run off the XP system players do, or the milestone system. And before people bring it up, because I suspect it, yes, Planar Ally has XP in it. Do you at least get the point of the video? This video, that is. I'm saying even with all the ratings, even with all the names, those are all bits of discussion I want to bring about, which, yeah, those comments are discussion. But I don't want people shutting down not picking spells, or picking certain abilities. Yeah, there's bad spells, but I recommend house ruling those. And there's only one exception I would bring up to limiting in some way, but we'll get to that spell. Anywho, that's just a few words I had on world building, essentially, of one, no one in your setting is going to make the optimal decision unless they're a deity of some kind that has view over everything. And two, build what you want, make what you want, have the explanations for what you have for what you want, because that's not harmful. Like, oh yeah, people could have placed hollow everywhere, but they didn't. They didn't have a need for it. They didn't have demons coming around. Well, they could have prepped. They could have got these resources. Diamonds weren't around. The herbs and the stuff used for the incense was absent. Just go with it. Yeah, the temple didn't have hollow as protection. Didn't need it, didn't have the spellcaster, doesn't have the skill. For some reason, they can't prep it. Whatever you need. Whatever you need and whatever you want is the answer to that world building. And I've got my own way of running these things and my own rules and setting, and that's built under 7 years of running this game. 5e, that is. But yeah, again, just a few words. This video probably ended up, I mean, I'm looking at the recording number right now. This definitely ended up longer than I thought it was going to be. It's a bit of a ramble, but just thought I'd get it out there. Anyway, have a nice day.